I'm Nathaniel Quenzer. My artist name is Nat Tuna. I'm a multimedia visual artist currently working with comic book collage and splatter acrylic art on top of that. Kind of started out in the culinary industry, and then I had to step away due to mental health and physical health. And so I found kind of a new purpose in life through MSS in these different art medias. Kind of started with that spiritual awakening, right? I was institutionalized, and through that I found the recovery community, and I was living in sober living. And my social worker was like, hey, you know, you're in the culinary arts, have you thought about doing anything in the arts world? I know a really great art employment coordinator you could work with, and that's when I started working with MSS. I remember as a child like always doodling and like messing around with art, and I took a lot of art classes, you know, any chance I got through elementary school, high school, whatever. And then I really was doing art on plates, like plating. And I remember working at Travail Kitchen and Amusements back in 2015, and I really thought I had a knack for art when we were splatter painting on tiles that we laid out on an easel, and we were painting with food purees then. And a couple of artists that were at the restaurant said, hey, that looks like Jackson Pollock, and I was like, oh. And then I kind of got into researching him, and then when I stepped away from my chef life is when I kind of found that splatter media as just really fun and therapeutic. So then I got the opportunity to be a studio artist here at MSS, which is amazing. And then I had a connection with Remix Record Shop in Forest Lake, and he was consigning some of my older pieces, and he gave me a bunch of comics to play around with. And then I started collaging with those. Really like the viewer to kind of find their inner superhero. Traditionally, a lot of these characters, along with my story, they go through a lot of hard knocks in life, you know, different traumas and things, and that's where they usually find their strength or their powers through that process, and I'm kind of finding that's very true in my own life. I'll pull the tape off, and that's when the scary part happens, where I pull the tape off while it's still wet, and then I go back into the piece because I don't want it to look too marked off or whatever. And yeah, there's definitely some times where certain images then get covered up by the paint, and then at the end I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have left that on, or, you know, it's a fine edge of going too far but not far enough, you know, and I think the best art comes from that threshold of uncomfortability. It can be frustrating, or it can be just really beautiful at times. It just depends on how the piece turns out. I try not to get too in my head about the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I just kind of let things happen, and then at the end I'm just like, okay, well, I learned from that experience.